I have a question. Why are you watching this video? Is it because you want to watch me recap all the different trades that I placed this past week with my premium members? Or is it because you want to watch the weekly market analysis and see what pairs could potentially play out for this upcoming trading week? Well, you're in luck. Because first, you don't need to tell me. And second, I'm going to be going over both of those. What's going on, traders? It's Mike from CapitalHillFX. And in this video, we're going to keep it real chill. First, I'm just going to recap all the different trades that I placed this past week. And then second, we're going to go over the weekly market analysis, going over pairs that could potentially play out. So let's actually jump into this. First things first, I want to go over sort of my own trading system because it's so freaking hard, complex. And a lot of people may not understand it, right? So first things first, I identify daily horizontal levels. Second thing second, I wait for price to come to these levels. And then when price does come to these levels, I just wait for bearish or bullish price action. That's it. So I'll just wait for bearish price action if we're out of a significant resistance zone, and then I'll place a sell. And then if it comes down to a significant daily support zone, I'll wait for bullish price action to form, and then I'll place a buy. That's it. That's it. No fancy indicators, oscillators, Fibonacci retracements, weird people telling you in your ear like buy here, sell here. No. If we have a break and retest, cool. I'll treat it as resistance or potential support. So that's basically it. Just bounces off of daily / 12-hour key levels. So let's actually dip into Discord and TradingView. I'm going to be switching back from Discord and TradingView because I want to show you live time that I placed all of these trades and called these trades out live with my premium members. So let's go into Discord and see the first trade that I placed, which was GBP AUD, and this was December 30th, late last year. You may be asking yourself, Mike, this wasn't last week. This was 2 weeks ago. This was late 2 weeks ago. Well, just calm down, calm your fingers real quick, because this trade actually carried into last week. So I'm going to go over all of the orders that I placed on GBP AUD, how I managed it, and how you could have managed it. So I'm going to explain GBP AUD really quickly. I placed a buy order on GBP AUD. It was just a bounce off of a 12-hour / 4-hour zone. Price came into this zone, and I was just looking for price to bounce towards the upside because that's what happens at support zones. We bounce at support, and we bounce at resistance. So we could look at the 12-hour time frame on GBP AUD. I have a couple zones marked up. We could see this was the zone that I was trading off of, right? Bounced here at support and resistance. If we come down to the hourly time frame, we could see that we didn't end up bouncing here. We bounced here very temporarily before actually melting towards the downside. But I don't place stop losses. Some of you might know already, I don't mitigate risk with stop losses. I use hedge orders. And hedge orders is just the opposite position of your initial position to mitigate risk in the market. So basically, I will show you visually here. So I had a hedge order right below the previous wicks. So I placed a buy once we showed bullish price action forming around this significant horizontal level. And then once we ended up violating this zone and price didn't go in the direction that I thought it would, then I automatically got entered into this sell once we actually entered this price point. So once I automatically got entered into a sell, I brought this sell order to this significant daily zone, right? Because it's not likely that price is going to wipe through this zone because this is a daily horizontal level. If we go back to the 12-hour time frame, we can see that we've treated this as support in the past as well. So it's logical to take a sell order all the way to this level and then wait for price to bounce back up to this horizontal level and close this buy at a smaller loss, right? Instead of closing it at a maximal loss, which is usually your stop loss. Usually I would place a sell order instead of a stop loss, or just have my sell order set, which is called a sell stop. And it will take it all the way down to this daily horizontal level. I closed profits at this horizontal level. And usually I will place a buy off of this horizontal level. But if we go back to the hourly time frame, we can see there wasn't much bullish price action forming around this significant horizontal level, although we did have this bullish candle to show that we could respect as support. But I didn't end up placing a buy. I just waited for price to come back up towards my entry. We didn't come all the way up towards my entry. I ended up closing around here. I think it was 90 pips of loss. And we'll go back to the Discord server to see exactly, wrap it up exactly how I ended up treating this right here. Here it is, GBP AUD buy update. This was Wednesday, I believe. Yes, middle of last week. I decided to close out the initial buy order on GBP AUD. So just to wrap up both of the orders, we had a buy order, which ended up losing 90 pips. So we had a loss for 90 pips, but that sell hedge was plus 160 pips. So we netted plus 70 pips. Would you believe that? Our initial position wasn't even right. We thought that was going to go towards the upside, but we ended up melting towards the downside, and we still made money. Isn't that something? We were wrong, but we still made money. There's two types of traders in these markets. There are traders that want to be right, and then there are traders that want to make money. Which one are you? I don't let pride get in the way of my trading, so I highly advise you do the same. But anyway, that was the whole position, right? So instead of just closing out at a stop loss and we would have lost the trade, no, we had our sell hedge and we waited for price to come down to this daily support zone because we showed that price was going to put in a lower high right here, and we ended up violating this zone, heading all the way to the next support zone. We closed this sell at a profit, and we just waited for price to come into less drawdown on this buy order. And then we closed this buy order at minus 90 pips, and we profited off the whole thing. I think it was 0.5% of profit, so that was pretty good. That was the whole trade on GBP AUD. Next, we're going to go into Euro GBP because that was the next trade order. I'm going to scroll up really quickly because I believe that was it right here. Sell order on Euro GBP. I placed a sell order on Euro GBP, and it was just a bounce off of a daily horizontal level. We could see that we were forming bearish price action off of a daily horizontal level, and we're going to go into this market right now. Daily time frame, we could see that we just have a super clear support resistance zone, and a lot of people would be sketched out by this. We could see even when we closed past this, we came back and tested as support and pushed back towards the upside. Tested as support again, tried to wipe out these previous highs, failed, came back, tested as resistance, pushed as resistance, and even if we look left even further, I believe we even treated it as support and resistance more in the past. So we could see clear support in the past, just a super clear support and resistance level. Clear intent with direction. We traded around it recently. We bounced off this level multiple times. So it's just a perfect support resistance zone. If we go down to the hourly time frame, we can see that we had clear bearish price action playing out around this significant horizontal level. And the only indicator that I use on my charts, I like to call it an identifier because it's not even a true indicator. It's just chart patterns, right? Just identifying the price action around these key zones. So we could see that we had two bearish engulfings forming around these significant horizontal levels. And we could see that when they pushed into the zone, the bearish engulfing didn't print right when we pushed into the zone, right? We had a couple bearish wicks presenting around the horizontal level before forming our first bearish engulfing. And then we had a huge bullish wick sending price back towards the upside, trying to wipe out these previous highs. And then we printed another bearish engulfing. That's why I decided to actually place my sell order. Then once I placed my sell order, we took price all the way towards the downside, and then price action showed me that we weren't actually going to wipe out these lows, and then I ended up closing out right around here. I actually let my all of my traders know that I was closing out right around here in my daily live trading session, because we do daily live trading sessions every single day with my premium members. So I let them know that I ended up closing out my position right here. And I believe this was 0.5% of gain as well. So we had around 0.5% of gain on GBP AUD. And then we had 0.5% from Euro GBP. Next, we're going to go into the next trade order, which I believe was USD Canadian dollar. Okay, so here it is. Just place a sell position on USD Canadian dollar. I will send the screenshot in a little, just want to keep you notified. So this was it right here. Just a bounce off of this resistance level. So this is just proving that I placed the trade. And this was the price action that was showing around the significant horizontal level. Now, let's go into the trade order. So USD Canadian dollar, here we go. We're going back to the 12-hour time frame. We can see that we just have a super clear 12-hour / daily resistance level that price has respected in the past. And I was just waiting for price to dip into this resistance level so we could go down to the hourly time frame and spot some type of bearish price action. Now, I do want to identify something. We could see that first we did push into this zone, and we had this nice bearish engulfing showing that we had some type of seller sensitivity around this significant horizontal level. But if you follow me on social media and you're looking at my TikToks and you're watching my content, hopefully you are, you know that we don't like to chase waterfalls, right? And what do I mean by that? It basically means if price is coming to a support resistance level and we instantly show a very strong bearish or bullish engulfing candle and price is far away from the zone, you don't idealistically want to place a sell or a buy that far away from the zone, because we could see right here, we're like probably 50 pips or 60 pips away from the actual zone. So this means our hedge order would have to be really far away from our initial entry. And now even if we come back to test the zone, we could run the risk of actually activating our hedge order when it could just be coming back and retesting the zone, and it will go in the initial direction that you anticipated. And this probably happens to a lot of you when you place sell or stop losses right above the zones, and then price comes back and tests the zone, and then it ends up stopping you out, but then it ends up going in the initial direction that you anticipated. This is because you're not being patient and disciplined, right? Don't chase waterfalls. Wait for price to come back, test the zone yet again. And then once we form another bearish engulfing, then you could place that sell order right after that second bearish engulfing or third one, whatever warrants a better entry. And now you have a better entry. You have more confirmation because we've actually rejected away from the zone multiple times, which is just more significant in general. And now price will end up going in either in your direction or will go against you. Either way, it's a way better entry criteria than just chasing the waterfall and going right after the first bearish engulfing. So basically, we could see that we just had a bunch of bearish price action form around this significant horizontal level. Like I said, we had this initial bearish engulfing print off of this horizontal level. We didn't place here. I wanted to wait for the retest of this significant horizontal level before looking for bearish price action. And I believe if we go back to the Discord, I did say this in my premium chat. I said, make sure that you're not placing your position on USD Canadian dollar. Just wait before you're actually placing the trade, because so many people are so tempted to place trades, especially when they see bearish engulfings. It's very important to wait before you're actually placing trades. And this was it right here. Also, this is the reason why you don't chase waterfalls. USD Canadian dollar came right back to the resistance level, is currently testing yet again. We're going to wait for bearish price action to show us that we're completely respecting the zone before entering a sell. I'll keep you all updated. And this was exactly it. And we went on a daily live trading session and saw this bearish engulfing. We were like, should we enter? Should we enter? And I was like, no, we do not chase waterfalls here at Capitol Hill FX. We wait for the exact entry criteria. And that's exactly what happened, right? Printed the bearish engulfing. A lot of people probably placed sells. It probably would have ended up working out still, but we got a better entry once we got that second test. Printed that bearish engulfing, and then we ended up melting towards the downside. I took profits around this significant horizontal level because I was nervous around this 4-hour/12-hour zone. If we go back to the 4-hour, we could see that we sort of have a 4-hour zone. So I ended up taking profits around this significant horizontal level. And then we could go back to the Discord server. I believe that I ended up saying that I ended up taking profit. And this was around, I believe, a 2.5% gain on USD Canadian dollar. So this was just a phenomenal 100 plus 120 pips. This was the message where I was like, yep, I am completely done. 2.5%. See, ended up melting towards the downside for 2.5%. So between the first two trades, which was 1%, and this trade right here, that was up 3.5%. And this was like Wednesday, right? The middle of the week. So 3 trades, we ended up resulting in 2 wins and 1 break even. So now I'm going to go into the next trade that I placed, which was AUD USD. We could see right here. We printed a strong bearish engulfing candle around a major daily zone. And even though this isn't the most ideal entry, we ended up still placing the entry anyway, right? So we had a long upper shadow, so just pretty much a bearish wick, and a bearish engulfing printing around a significant horizontal level. And we could see this with our own eyes. AUD USD, we're going to go to the daily time frame. We can see super clear daily horizontal level, treated as support, support, resistance, support, support, resistance, and resistance, resistance, resistance. So I was just waiting for price to come into this significant horizontal level, going down to the hourly time frame and wait for some type of bearish price action to show that we're going to respect here as resistance. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame and see exactly what the hell I entered on. So we could see we had this long upper shadow, which was pretty much just a bearish wick. And then we had this second bearish engulfing candle. Actually, the first bearish engulfing candle, but second piece of bearish price action, showing that we were going to respect off of this zone. That's when I ended up placing this sell, just signifying this sell or this red arrow right here. And we ended up dropping towards the downside. That's where I ended up taking profit. Let's see if I actually placed in here. Yep, right here. Sell update, sell order on AUD USD is booming, continuing to push into profit. And then I ended up placing a sell on AUD JPY. I'll go to that in a second. But I believe in my premium chat, I ended up saying that I closed it. Or maybe I did it in the daily live trading session, because remember, we do daily live trading sessions as well. So I don't think I updated this in the chat, but I may have done it in the daily live trading session. Here was the profit from both of the trades that I was making on AUD JPY and AUD USD. But yeah, I believe I said it on AUD. I believe I said it in the live session. So I ended up taking profit on AUD USD. Now, last but not least, AUD JPY. Let's take a look at that. And this one ended up yielding, I believe, to another 2.5% or 2%. So 2% from this trade, which adds another 5.5% for the week. 5.5%. So now we're going to go into AUD JPY and see what the hell I was looking at AUD JPY. So this was the last trade of the week. So just stick with me here. I'm about to get into the market analysis. We can see daily time frame. We have super clear horizontal level, bounce as support and resistance in the past. So I was just waiting for price to come to this significant horizontal level and bounce as potential resistance. We go down to the hourly time frame. We can see that we formed a bearish engulfing. That's when I placed my sell order. But we could see that this trade ended up just moving sideways around this significant horizontal level. And that's why I ended up closing out of this trade at break even. And a lot of you may be like, you're such a liar, dude. You didn't close out at break even. You're just saying that because it shows that it didn't end up going in your direction. Well, let's go to the trade orders. Let me prove it to you. So here was the sell order. I placed a sell order on AUDJPY. This was January 4th. And then we're going to go down here. As for I decided to close out at break even once we retested the zone and came close to triggering the hedge order. The price action doesn't look like it's going to be heading down, but we very well could have a bearish impulse after the second retest. Considering I had such a good week, I decided to just close out of this trade at break even. And I'm very happy that I ended up closing out because we could see we just ended up swaying around this zone. There's going to be a couple different trades when you place off of horizontal levels, right? Price is going to come up to these significant zones and show bearish price action. And you're going to place your sell right around the significant horizontal level with maybe your stop loss or hedge order right over whether it's the zone or the previous wicks. And then price is going to head in your initial direction. And then price is going to come test the level again. And that's going to head in the initial direction again. Try and test these lows. Fails, comes and tests again. And it's going to go towards the downside. These are a nightmare to stay in. You know what trades are a nightmare to stay in? When price just comes, forms the bearish price action, you enter, and it just heads towards the downside. Sort of like USD Canadian dollar or AUD USD. Those are way easier trade orders rather than sticking through this type of crap. So that's why I just ended up closing out at break even, just calling it quits and being done for the rest of the week. So up 5.5% on this trading week, a phenomenal week. Definitely a great way to start the trading year. So I'm very happy with how things played out on all of these trades. So now we're actually going to go into the second portion of this video. And that's just going over the weekly market analysis, going over pairs that could potentially play out for this upcoming trading week. So let's go into it. Starting off on GBP JPY. I already have these pretty much prioritized because I went over all of these trades with my premium members already. But let's go into GBP JPY. Daily time frame. We could see that price is coming up to a significant horizontal level. We could see that we've had treated this as support and resistance in the past. So I'm just looking for price to treat this potentially as resistance yet again. Sneaking down to the hourly time frame, we can see that we formed a bunch of bearish price action around this horizontal level. So I'm going to wait to see how the market opens, see the price action that's forming around this horizontal level, see if we form another bearish engulfing or a long upper shadow, tweezer top, whatever it may be. I'm going to wait for some type of bearish price action before looking for potential downside movement. GBP Canadian dollar is waiting for price to come to this significant daily horizontal level. And we could see we already bounced, but the bullish price action that was forming around this horizontal level was really sketchy. We could see that we only had this wick. We would have literally had to enter after this bullish wick, and it was a bearish candle. And then we just had a very strong bullish candle heading towards the upside. This was during NFP, so I end up staying out of the markets with high impact news like NFP or FOMC. A lot of people trade fundamental data. I don't. Do whatever you want to do in the markets, but I ended up staying out of the markets, and that was the reason why I didn't trade this market. But for now, I'm going to be waiting for price to come back into this zone and test it yet again as potential support. So waiting for another potential test as support on GBP Canadian dollar. NZD JPY daily time frame, waiting for price to come up to this significant daily support resistance level. We could see treated as support and resistance in the past. Support. Came tested here as resistance. Just waiting for price to dig a little bit deeper into this zone, retrace to this significant 12-hour/daily zone before looking for downside movement. NZD US dollar, we could see that we ended up bouncing at this support resistance level. I'm not even going to go back into the Discord server because I'm not sure if I called it, but I did call this with my premium members. I'm 100% positive of it. Any of the zones and arrows that I have marked up, I definitely called it with my premium members. So that's why you should definitely tune into the daily live trading sessions. Of course, if you're not a premium member, then you can't. But I am going to be tuning in with my free members to do daily live trading sessions. Not daily, just live trading sessions, maybe once a week. I'll hop in just to sort of do things like this, like just show you high probability setups that I'm looking at in the markets and just update you on any trading setups that I'll be looking for. But I was anticipating a buy off of this or a bounce off of this level. We could see with NFP that clearly played out. But like I said, I don't trade high impact news events, especially with NFP or FOMC, just because they could sway the markets like crazy. So I'm going to be waiting for price to come into this significant resistance level and wait for bearish price action to play out before looking for potential downside movement. GBP AUD, waiting for price to dig a little bit deeper into these previous lows, even though I did trade already this currency pair. I'm going to be removing this zone just because it doesn't look as well respected. And I'm just waiting for price to come down to the significant daily/weekly zone and looking for potential bullish price action before looking for upside movement on GBP AUD. Euro Canadian dollar, I'll be waiting for price to retrace back to this weekly/daily horizontal level. We could see we pinned here as support and resistance. Clear intent with direction every time we've come into here. We just haven't actually recently traded around this zone. So if we go down to the hourly time frame, like I said, just waiting for price to dig a little bit deeper into this zone. And people always ask me, Mike, where do you like to see price actually test the zone, right? Because this zone is probably very wide, like 80 to 100 pips of movement. So do we want to see it test the top half? Do we want to see it test the middle? Do we want to see it test the bottom? What I always say to people, if you're wondering where you want to see price test, just look left, right? If we scroll left and we look in previous data, let me go to the 12-hour time frame because I'll probably be scrolling here forever. And we look in previous data, we could see literally where price has actually rejected away from and get a good precise point. And I don't mean to say precise, a good idea of where price has actually reacted with in the past. And it's not up here. It's not all the way down here. I would say it's sort of right in the meat of where the candle closures and where we were actually reversing. And I would say this is a very good price point of where price has actually rejected away from. And now we just scroll right. And that's sort of a general idea of where we want to see price reject away from, right? So if you're ever getting a good idea of like, where should I see price reverse at around this zone? Just look left. Where has price reversed previously? It most likely will test that exact level. And maybe not exact, but that general idea. That's exactly where you want to see it. So waiting for price to retrace back to this significant price point before looking for upside movement. GBP CHF, waiting for price to test this low right here. I've been waiting like weeks for this trading setup, but I'm just waiting for price to dig a little bit deeper into the zone before looking for potential upside movement. Now we're going to dip into the medium priority. Euro USD, waiting for price. Let's go to the daily time frame. Waiting for price to come up to this significant daily/12-hour zone. We could see it treated as support and resistance. So just waiting for price to dig a little bit deeper into this zone before looking for potential downside movement. USD Canadian dollar, considering we already placed a trade off of this zone, we can see that we barely tapped this resistance level before looking for potential downside movement. And this probably was because of NFP. So if we go down to the hourly time frame, and this is something that's very significant. I may have mentioned this in this video already, but I just want to mention it yet again. If price comes to a zone and instantly shows a bearish engulfing, it's much more skeptical that price is going to head towards the downside because we only are going off of this bearish engulfing, rather than if price comes to a zone, shows multiple rejections, multiple wicks, multiple candle closures, and price is trying to close past the zone, but we're failing, and this shows that we're failing, and then we have a bearish engulfing. This trading setup is way more significant and is way more likely to head towards the downside than this one, because this one only shows one bearish engulfing. This shows multiple candles showing that we're not going to close around the zone. We're showing wicks, right? And then we show a bearish engulfing, wiping out these previous lows, giving us a good idea that the sellers are present and price could head towards the downside. That's exactly what ended up playing out on this USD Canadian dollar trading setup, right? Initially, we entered this zone and then we showed a bearish engulfing. This wouldn't have been as significant as if we came back to the zone, showed multiple wicks like we did right here, bunch of bearish wicks, and then we showed a bearish engulfing right here. Once we turn on the indicator, we could see that we printed a bearish engulfing. So not only was it very significant that we had a bunch of different bearish wicks right here, but then we had a bearish engulfing that proved that sellers were taking over. And then we placed our sell order. A lot of people would have placed sell orders right after this candle closure. Not only do we not like to chase waterfalls, but we want confirmation that price is going to actually bounce at this zone. That's what these wicks are for. So just get a good idea. As price just recently entered the zone and then instantly showed an engulfing, or have we rejected away from this zone multiple times and then we're showing a piece of bearish price action? Get a good idea. Make sure you're analyzing the price action. But anyway, USD Canadian dollar daily time frame. It just looks like we're floating through substructure right now. I'll just be waiting to see if we come back up to this zone or we come down to this significant daily zone, right? Treat it as support and resistance, just waiting to see if we come to either one of these zones. NZD Canadian dollar. Same sort of deal. We're floating through substructure, waiting for price to come up to this daily / 12-hour zone. I would say more of a 12-hour / 4-hour zone. Waiting for price to come up to this resistance level or come down to this support zone. AUD NZD. I was waiting for price to reject away from this significant support resistance zone, but I actually took this off of my priority because the price action on the hourly time frame just doesn't look good, in my subjective opinion. It looks like a super clear zone, but there's not clear intent with direction when we actually test the zone, right? When we tested the zone, do you see how we're sort of consolidating? Like, yeah, we're creating lower highs and lower lows, but there's not clear intent with direction. Like, it just looks like it's almost a dead cat bounce. And for those of you that don't know what a dead cat bounce is, that's basically that when we come into a zone and we sort of have a move, but not an impulsive move. It's sort of like a consolidatory move. And then we just end up violating the zone. In my subjective opinion, that's sort of what this looks like. It just looks like it's not too much of an impulsive move. It's a weak downtrend, which just could lead back towards an uptrend. It looks sort of like corrective move back towards the upside, because if we look on the daily time frame, or excuse me, the hourly time frame, we're clearly heading towards the upside. So I would not doubt if we end up wiping out this zone. So I just end up staying out of this market, and I'm actually going to continuously stay out of this market. I'm not going to trade off of this zone. I'm going to wait to see if price can maybe push a little bit higher up to this horizontal level. In that case, I will be looking for potential sell opportunities, but just sitting on the sideline for AUD NZD right now. Euro GBP. Waiting to see if price could come back to this significant horizontal level. That's really the only horizontal level that seems significant in my subjective opinion. GBP NZD. Looks like we're sort of ranging, sort of like exactly what we just looked at on AUD NZD, just a weak downtrend creating lower highs and lower lows. Very weak downtrend. Waiting to see if we could come down to this significant daily / weekly support zone before identifying bullish price action, before looking for upside movement. And then last but not least, AUD JPY. This is a very significant daily horizontal level that we tried to trade off of before. I'm not going to try to trade off of this zone yet again, just because, like I said, the price action sort of sketches me out. So I'm not going to be trying to trade a bounce off of this horizontal level. And then, of course, we could go into the low priority, but we're not going to, because I want to sort of make this video short and sweet. So that's everything that I got for you guys. And of course, I'm going to be updating you guys with these trading setups in my Discord server. Wait, you haven't joined my Discord server? Why? It's completely free. I provide free trading setups just like these, almost on a day-to-day basis. Free community chat. You could book a free one-on-one call with me. Literally a one-on-one call. Completely free. No gimmicks, no strings attached or anything like that. And we could go over how I could help you in your trading journey. A free course that teaches you the foundational education of what you do need to do. What you do need to do to become profitable in these markets, and a bunch of other things. But if you're not ready for the premium membership yet, I completely get it. Just consume as much free content as you can in that Discord server, and then I'm here when you need it. This is Mike from CapitalHillFX. I hope you guys have a phenomenal trading week, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.